It's November 17th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. And Michael Saylor wants us to know it's a big week, and that is big with a capital Bitcoin B. I mean, look at this relentless buying pressure that's been happening over this past year plus. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. And the fact that Michael Saylor is likely buying Bitcoin right now below $100,000 is absolutely a gift from the gods. It is a gift to the faithful. I'm stoked to be around for this, to witness this firsthand. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but man, this is going to be a big week. And by big week, I mean a big week for stacking Bitcoin for Strategy's treasury, which is the goal as a Strategy shareholder if you understand the company and are a long-term shareholder, a long-term investor in this company. I don't know what it's going to do price action wise because I really don't care what it does this week. I care what it does in the next 5 to 10 years. That is my focus. That's my focal point. Let's move along to our man, Adam Livingston, who says multiples come and go, ignore the noise, but increased Bitcoin exposure perpetually raises your 1x MNAV floor. Ignore the noise. And this is why I like buying MSTR over IBIT, says Adam. IBIT equals 1-to-1 Bitcoin exposure. You buy one share of IBIT or you buy one Bitcoin's worth of IBIT, you get one Bitcoin exposure, and it will always stay that way. MSTR, you get 1-to-1 Bitcoin exposure plus consistent growth in Bitcoin per share. And then here's a chart of what's happened over the past 5 years and what's obviously likely to continue to happen going forward into the future. It's called amplification. It is a compounding effect, and I will be around for all of this. I can promise you that. I hope you will too. Chris says, things that are likely. Bitcoin becomes a $200 trillion asset. Right now, it's below $2 trillion. So that's amazing. MSTR becomes a $10 trillion company. It's at like $60 billion right now. So that's insane. And we can actually just stop right there for the purposes of this interview. We have the Bitcoin therapist says, I have never once heard Peter Schiff hold an intelligent conversation. On the other hand, Michael Saylor may be one of the deepest intellectual thinkers of our generation. I completely agree with this sentiment. Michael Saylor continues to just awe and inspire me every time he's behind the microphone, every time he shares something. It's, to me, the reason why I believe he is the he is the financial engineering genius of our generation, period, end of story. What is Peter Schiff? Peter Schiff is a engagement farming clickbait troll. That's exactly what he is. I'm not saying that he's a bad guy. He lives a couple hours away from me here in Puerto Rico. He loves gold, and his whole business model depends on gold continuing to do well. And so he's just going to continue to be a troll until then. I would love to see this happen, by the way. Peter Schiff's, again, this is just part of the fun that's going around that we just need to kind of chuckle at and say, man, I can't wait for the future. MSTR's entire business model is a fraud. Saylor and I will both be speaking at Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai in early December. I challenge Saylor to debate this proposition with me. Regardless of what happens to Bitcoin, I believe MSTR will eventually go bankrupt. Let's go. I would dream for this to happen. I don't know if Michael Saylor is going to get in the muck, in the mud with Peter Schiff, but we'll see. I'll be sitting there watching if so. Zinc says, if you haven't realized it by now, nearly every price prediction model for Bitcoin has been rendered useless. Make being directionally correct and having a low time preference for your priority. Ignore the price of Bitcoin over 5 months. Focus on the price of Bitcoin over 5 years. All these predictions, October, Moonvember, whatever it might, all these things, it's useless. They've always been, because of course nobody can predict the future. If the future could be predicted, we'd all be filthy rich, and it wouldn't mean anything, because if everybody's filthy rich, everybody's also equally poor, equally rich, equally everything in the middle. That's just a reality. So ignore the price of Bitcoin over 5 months. Focus on the price of Bitcoin over 5 years. And that's why, as a little side note, I love people in my comment section. I mean, these individuals who have like scanned X for like 15 minutes will come on my comment feed and be like, Bitcoin's going to 72,000. I'll buy then. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're saying it with such conviction because you read it on somebody's post somewhere. I mean, think about just all of the mess that's out there, content production wise, in this world. That's why I follow 33 people on X. That's it. That's what I consume. And I have carefully curated these 33 people because I respect them. Their body of work shows to me that they're worthy of my respect. And that's the content that I consume. Of course, I do like to respond to my comments, and I have some fun there, by the way. I like to be quite snarky in my comments. So if you want to have a little fun sometimes, jump in my comments because, I don't like to hold back. I like to have some fun too. And that's where I actually consume just the toxicity, the ignorance, just the absolute incompetence of people that just want to come in and say that MSTR is a horrible Ponzi scheme because the stock has gone down. Like that's their entire basis. They have no idea about anything about the company. Yet, all of a sudden they're an expert enough to share their future price predictions. Ash Crypto shares 3 major events this week. On 19th November, the FOMC minutes and NVIDIA earnings. The 20th of November, September unemployment data, initial jobs claims. The 21st of November, PMI data, inflation expectations. These are huge, by the way. And he says that, in my opinion, NVIDIA earnings and unemployment data will be the most important. Strong earnings will boost the stock market and the crypto market. Higher than expected unemployment data will increase the chances of a rate cut. So nobody's hoping for higher unemployment data per se. I'm saying that because we're not hoping that more people are out of work. But what we are hoping for is just honest reporting. That's what we want, is honest reporting, because we know unemployment is brutal right now, is really high. And if we have honest reporting, then the Fed can actually do something about it by continuing rate cuts. So we'll see where that goes. Wanted to share this from Chris. After this weekend, I genuinely feel like we're at or close to max FUD around MSTR. And if $200 is the floor at max FUD, bearing in mind Bitcoin is down 30% from all-time highs, then that is extremely bullish. Totally agreed. When there is blood, buy when there's blood in the streets, says Ragnar. And right now, extreme fear is at a 10. I've actually honestly never seen it this low. It's insane that it's this low. I actually, again, I've said this before, love when we're not anywhere near extreme greed, because extreme greed makes me very nervous. I mean, to me, it just means that there's going to be a bubble pop and correction at some point. But extreme fear, oh man, bring it on. And now we have an amazing video clip from Tom Lee, so sit back and enjoy. Senator Cynthia Lummis recently announced that funding for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve can start anytime. This is a massive step forward for a strategic crypto stockpile, and no surprise, was soon followed by a new all-time high for Bitcoin. If you're looking to buy more Bitcoin, BitIRA can help. In fact, BitIRA will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into Bitcoin. This also allows you to buy Bitcoin using pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. And if you want, you can even add XRP, Ethereum, or other cryptos. BitIRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and is registered with the US government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Think about this. In March, President Trump signed an executive order for the Treasury to manage 200,000 Bitcoin as the foundation for a reserve. That's just the foundation. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin. Fire Nation, when you want more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, more success, it all starts with Northwest Registered Agents. These legends have been helping entrepreneurs launch and grow their businesses for nearly 30 years. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your state's laws and actually care about helping you win. With Northwest, you can build your complete business identity, everything from what your customers see to what they don't, operating agreements, meeting minutes, compliance paperwork, and more. You'll get thousands of free resources, lawyer drafted forms, and step-by-step guides all in one place, and you don't even need to create an account to access them. Best part, Privacy is automatic. Northwest never sells your data and handles everything in-house. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brands, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
Michael Saylor is changing the reality of the stock market. And the reason is that he probably will end up being the largest, potentially the largest company in the stock market. Okay. Especially if Bitcoin goes to 1 million. Yet he doesn't generate GAAP net income to justify it. He's based solely on the value of his balance sheet. And but that's not new to history, because when I graduated college, the biggest stock in the S&P, a top 5 name was ExxonMobil. And it was top 5 for 28 years, 30 years, like an entire generation. Graduated, worked on Wall Street. A top 5 name was a company that was only valued on the value of its oil, not on its net income. So like MicroStrategy is like replacing Exxon in lore, because for a whole generation, people said Exxon was the biggest company, but you don't value it on earnings. Well, MicroStrategy could be one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's valued on its Bitcoin.
Wow.
What's the second best? There is no second best.